Hello and welcome back to our series on how to use some of the lesser known functions of Power BI. Today we're going to work with the Key Performance Indicator, or KPI. You see that it has three fields of input: indicator, trend axis, and target goals. I'm going to show you my data first. This is for a winery that I made up. They have four different kinds of products: red wine, white wine, ice wine, and sparkling wine. They have 4 quarters for which they keep track of this data. This is their budget for each of the quarters. This is how much they actually spent to produce each product line. Then these are their actual sales for the year and their target sales for the year. Usually in a KPI, you want to go and reach your goal. In my example, we don't want to reach our goal because obviously we don't want to spend more money to produce each of the product lines. So to begin examining how this winery did, I'm going to bring actual, put it into indicator. I'm going to bring budget, put it in target goals. And from here, on the trend axis, I'm free to use either product line or quarter. I'm going to use quarter. And now we can see that across these 4 quarters during the year, our maximum budget was $1.8 million, and we came in underneath that at 1.5. So I'd like to break this down, but first I want to point out that we have 4 points on this indicator: 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's because we have 4 quarters from which we're drawing data. So if I come to this slicer, and I take quarter, come to this little arrow right here because I want the list. If I click on 3, it's going to have the highest cost, so it'll have the highest number here. Whereas if I click on 1 versus 4, they're going to be less than 1.7 million. So if we move back to our KPI indicator, we can see that it's telling us relative to all the expenditures during the year, quarter 1 and 4 were the lowest. 2 was a little bit higher, and 3 is where our highest expenses came in at. So I want to break down quarter 3 and determine where we were close to going over budget at. So under this slicer, I'm going to bring in product line. On this slicer, I'm going to click quarter 3. And now we're just going to move through each of the products. So we can see that overall we weren't really close to going over. So there's nothing wrong with how this winery is operating. It's just that during this time we're going to be spending more money to produce, because we can see that for products like ice wine and sparkling wine, their budgets are not always going to be the same in every quarter. So the KPI is really useful in allowing you to break down how your personal goals or your company goals are doing. Its weakness is that you are either going to want to use it with slicers like I'm doing, or even by dragging in a table to getting all this data input into the workspace, because in and of itself, just seeing this indication line probably isn't going to help you figure out where you may or may not be having problems. I'd like to point out that this exclamation mark is here because it thinks we want to go over budget. Clearly that's not something we want to do, so I'm going to empty this KPI. I'm going to delete these slicers, and I'm going to put in target sales as our target goal. I'm going to put in actual sales on our indicator, and I'm just going to take quarter and stick it in trend axis. Now we can see that we sold $5 million worth of product during the year. We wanted to sell $4.5 million. We beat our goal by 11%, and now we have our check mark. So the KPI is telling us we beat our goal.